All right, thank you. Thank you for being here. This might be the most we've ever had in the room. And I don't know if this is their biggest room or not, but somebody came up to Dan. It was Dan came up to me today. He's like, "You need a bigger room because I don't like sitting next to people." Okay. But thank you for joining us. I hope everyone's had a good Hamfest. This is our 4th or 5th year of doing this. Who was at the cookout on Friday? Woohoo! Good. Who thought that was a good cookout on Friday? Oh, almost all the same people. Okay.
How many people didn't know that they had to sign up to get registered so we knew you were coming?
How many people did not know you had to sign up? Okay. Okay, you might subscribe to like literally any of us and you'd get that information. So, but Kyle decided to sit in the crowd today, but 90% of everything that happened on Friday is Kyle's doing, so he's awesome. And we were really astonished by how many people showed up early and set up the awnings, and volunteers just kind of showed up out of the woodworks. We didn't have to ask for much, so you guys are a great community for that. We really do appreciate that. So in the past, I feel like I'm feeding back. In the past, I have, this has been like a Q&A, like we're just very unstructured, very whatnot. And this year, I thought I'd change it up a little bit and maybe ask a question that's come up recently on several of my videos and on some Instagram posts I've been reading about. And I would like to say what I want to know from and I want audience participation here. And we only have one microphone, and we're recording this, so try to get everybody on mic or get somebody up here to repeat the question if you can. But what I want to know is this. I want to know, what do you think the state of amateur radio is as far as being a welcoming community for outsiders? And how can we improve not only just ham radio clubs, because I get a lot of flack about ham radio clubs. I think the term is boomer clubs that likes to be thrown around. Boomer clubs are all gatekeepers. Nobody wants you in there. Everybody's unwelcoming. And it's my opinion that those clubs do exist, but I think they're in the minority. And I think they just get too much time in social media, and everybody thinks that's how everybody is. And because the nice people don't ever post on social media, and if they do, they don't go viral because chaos sells, right? So I did a video recently, and my example for this was let's say you go buy a blender or a new set of tires for your car or something like that. You get it, you go home, you open it up, you package it, get the tires put on, everything's great. You go home, you go about your life. Great, cool. But you buy a new blender or a coffee maker. Carlos has coffee for sale, by the way. You buy a new blender or a coffee maker, you take it home, you unpack it, and it doesn't work, and what's the first thing you do? You get on Facebook and you just blast everybody. Oh, look at this piece of crap. It came with this broken part, and la, 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 la. I called customer service, they're not answering. So everything on Facebook is negative because the people who have good experiences don't go out there and post about it. And I do the same thing. I'm guilty of that too. So I think a lot of the negativity we see in social media about ham radio is just because the people who post their good experiences aren't out there. They're not posting about their good experiences. So I would like to know from the community and from these guys up here as well, what can we do to change that? What can we do to improve that? What is your personal experience? Have you ever felt like you weren't welcome when you went to a new ham radio club or you came to a show like this or something like that? And I want to get everyone's opinion, and I don't want to tell my opinion anymore. I've already done that 100 times, so I want everyone else's opinion. So anything and everything around that subject is total fair game today. And again, one microphone, we're recording, and who wants to start off? Anybody? Frank. Oh my gosh.
Well, first off, you gave me this question when we were at the Scar Lounge. You said it was mine, and I was going to use it at Orlando next year. Yes, next year.
It'll still be relevant.
No, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. One thing I think to help clubs just to feel more welcoming, I think if the club had a designated handful of members, so if someone's new, I think Hearst did this, they would be like the welcome person. If someone new came through the door, they just go up there and say, "Hey, how's it going? Welcome to our club." Give them the spiel what we're about. Hey, here's our sign-in sheet, and give them a rundown of what the club does. Then help them introduce them to everyone in the club, and it's like, hey, if you're interested in Mesh, this guy's the guy. If you want to do HF and antennas, that guy's the guy. If you want to know how to blow up your toroid, you go talk to that guy. And so it just helps them get to know the club and what they're about, and also introduce them to all the members. So after that initial invite, they can come in and start walking around and saying who they want to go talk to. The ice has already been broken, and it also stops sometimes it does happen when someone new comes in through the door, 40 people all rush them. And then it's like the herd is running at you, and you're like, I don't want to be here right now. Goodbye. And they don't come back. So that's my opinion. I think just have someone there to be a greeter and introduce the club and help break the ice and get them to know other club members. All right, that's my 2 cents. Tank Radio, 8,000 watts of channel for a giveaway. Yeah, I did it. All right, who wants to go next? Joe Britt. Yeah.
Why not?
I want to hear your call sign.
Of course. $5.
He's charging.
So good morning, everybody. I am K5YVY. Everybody loves that. I don't know. My personal experience with some clubs is kind of like the negative stuff you say, right? So the most local club to me, when I say local, I'm talking like a 10-minute drive. I don't have to spend a lot of gas money to get there. And I found out when I did test with them a couple of times, and they were good folks, but they just want to drink coffee. They didn't want to play radio. So that wasn't what I wanted to do. I like coffee, but I also like radio. Then we had some active clubs, but there was like an hour drive from me, and I just didn't commit to going that far. I'm a little cheap when it comes to gas prices and stuff, so and time's limited. What I have seen besides the club is I've started seeing some groups pop up, and they just call themselves an activity group. And I think a lot of folks, sometimes when you get to the gatekeeping part of a club, there's a lot of work in a club. You got the minutes, the business meetings, the finances, and all this stuff. And I kind of think some of those guys may just kind of get burned out and don't want to see stuff change because they're in a workflow, if that makes sense. But these activity clubs, they don't keep minutes. It's like a phone tree, right? Hey, Bob, we want to go do a POTA. You want to? Yeah, let me call John and see if he wants to go. And they just get together and go to a park and play radio, or they'll get together at a meeting location and build toroids and antennas or something. And there's no bookkeeping, there's no membership dues and anything like that. So I say that to where if you're kind of in a situation where a club 10 minutes from you is not what you're looking for, there's probably other hams around you that's looking for something else too. Just start putting it out there. Hey, let's just get together and go have fun. Make yourself an activity group. So we applied. There was a local crew that I kind of helped. We wasn't the one to come up with it. We got the idea from another place. But you still can apply for a club call and run with it if you want to. So there's options out there. Who is it that says, be the change? That's T.O., temporarily offline. Be the change you want to see. So since he's not here with us, he's probably working, always working. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. Any questions on that? Cool. There you go.
Yeah, when my kids were young, we called those play dates.
Yeah.
Hey, John, you want to go do a play date in the park? Play POTA. Yeah, anybody, if you join a club, you're going to be giving a ton of your time, right? So you should speed date all the clubs in your area. You should go to all of them, because if you're going to commit the time that you're going to have to, you better meet everybody there. And you got to think to yourself, do I want to be talking to this guy in 5 months? There's no reason that you can't go to multiple meetings of the club. Don't let them push you to join. Try them out. Explore the space. I'm very lucky, California lucky, for all the radio we have down there. But we have tons of clubs. I'm a member of the W6TRW Club, which is Northrop Grumman's club. Our sister club, as we call it, is JPL's club. It's full of engineers, and the average age is young. And it's always a project. Let's go here. We meet at the brewery that's down the street from the Northrop Grumman site in Redondo Beach. Build antennas on the little loft they've got up there. So you just got to find the right one. And yeah, and if you're not getting what you want, hey, John, you want to go to the bar and build an antenna? Like, yeah, do it. There's nothing stopping you. So yeah. Yeah, there you go. But I guess also, Jason, did you say the first part of that question was, what is the state of ham radio, or was it specifically on clubs?
No, it's not specifically on clubs. It's what do you feel like the state is, whether it's a welcoming atmosphere, like overall
Yeah.
or not?
So I was at DEF CON 2 weeks ago, so I'll talk specifically about that. And different crew, tons of people, right? Obviously, you could call that the nerdy playdate capital of the world, right? Because it was tons of different areas, and there was a ham radio village. That group got licensed over 300 people in a weekend. And last year they did 420 new licenses and upgrades. That's just, they tested way more. And that is a group of makers. That is a lot of what I would call the ham curious people that are wanting to build, wanting to do things cheaply, don't really understand all the background of ham radio, the legacy of it, but have fun with the technologies. So that in itself, the fact that that exists is a good sign that the state of ham radio is good. In that space, it was very welcoming. So it really depends on which pocket of the hobby you're dancing around in, from my point of view. Passing to Bill.
I'm relatively new. My name is Bill, Ham Radio Tectonics, call sign K0WHW. A group of hams in Texas started their own club, and I'm grateful they included me. But my question is to someone more experienced up here. Let's just say I have 5-6 friends that we do POTA. Can we start our own club?
Yep.
Yes.
And I realize that part of the
You
club.
need exactly 5 people.
That was a guess. That was a lucky guess. But part of the reason that we join a club is to the wealth of experience. So what if we started a club that was geared towards seeking that experience and going out to other clubs and seeking out the people who knew things, and we just grew that in our club? What do you think about that? Or does anybody have any ideas about what I just said? Start a club that we don't have any experience, but our goal is to go out and find it. So if I want to know about satellites, I'm going to use my satellite guru sitting right here. But if we want to know about satellites, we go out and pick Rob's brain. And we do satellite things. And who's my antenna guru? If I want to know, what do you think about that?
I'll pass it down to you really quick. The W6TRW Club does that. Well, they'll have like a day where everybody gets together, brings their tools, works on kits, works on whatever project, and it's kind of just a kind of have fun, do whatever.
So if we're new, we can start our own club.
Yeah.
So actually, I did just that. First off, I'm James, the Ham Radio Adventure guy. I do a lot of traveling with Parks on the Air, and I check out a lot of local clubs and, try to see what people's doing, what I feel is right and wrong. Some clubs are welcoming, some's not. Like, I've been spending a lot of time in Ohio after Dayton, and there's a club, the BARC, and they, a lot of people don't want to sit through minutes and business meetings and stuff. One week they're doing their business meeting, one meeting they're doing a POTA planning meeting, one week they're doing a tech meeting where you do technical stuff. But we did start a club, and it's kind of for the state of ham radio, because what we're concentrating on is seeking out the youth in ham radio and teaching them, what we know, because the future of ham radio has to be them. We're not going to be here. But yes, you do need 5 people, and you can start your own club, and that's a great idea.
And I'll say, I'm Josh, AA4WX, Ham Check TV. I've kind of made it public, in a sense, some of my experience with my local club, and I have a love-hate relationship with them. Yes, I'm a lifetime member of it, and where I find that clubs are struggling is politics. You get too deep into the politics, too power grabby, too happy, or power happy, that kind of thing. But there's a lot of positive, and my club has made strides to try to attract people to not necessarily get them bored with the business minutia of the club. One thing that they've done to do that is the program, the speaker or whatever, that is at the first half of the meeting. That way you come, you get to hear the content that you've came to learn, and then if you don't want to stay for the business meeting, bye. Thanks for coming. So I think that's been a great change, and I have noticed an influx of attendees at the club because of that.
Don't forget about your gang.
Oh, yeah. Hi, I'm Becky, in for BKY, and
Mike in for FFF.
there's always two of us. We're the duo. I just want to point out, this is our third year at Hamfest, and one of the funny things that I did in our first video was I said, oh, I have to use the restroom. There's nobody in the women's at all. There really wasn't. And so what I want to say is this year, that's changed for me. There are a lot more women here this year, and I don't mean the tag-alongs. I mean the ones that have their license. There's several of you guys in here, and I think that's really great for the hobby. I think couples doing ham radio together, I think that's a big step in getting YLs out there on the air, having hobby couples. I think that's a great change in the right direction. So.
Don't forget about your gang.
And the Brass Knuckle Gang. So CW, I don't know if you know Forrest, Utah Forrest. He's probably out in his booth, so go see him if you haven't. He's really got the younger generation excited about this great new thing called CW on 2 meters even. So there's some young faces out there that are inspiring other young faces.
This sounds corny, but it's true. When I got into ham radio, it was from a long time wanting, and with my dad, was starting in CB radio. Popular, some of you people know what Popular Electronics, the magazine, was, and Workbench. My dad built radios. It was always just a spark. But when I started, there was I didn't know who to talk to. And I started in YouTube, and it sounds corny, but you guys are my club. So when I go to, oh my God, brain. When I go to the clubhouse and you guys are commenting, I'm learning. So when you can't do that, or this is why, or maybe if you did this, or use this toroid, or check out this circuit. You guys are my club, and I know it sounds corny, but YouTube, the group that we've put together, and this is the YouTube forum, the people in the chat are part of the club.
Send it down this way.
Or did you want to, back there, did we have someone that wanted to talk?
No, I was just agreeing with you.
Gotcha.
Oh, my goodness. You were just agreeing? Yeah.
I thought you were drafted by nature.
I thought so, too.
Hello, my name is Mike, KF4BOG. It's my second time in this forum here, and I've been doing YouTube videos periodically. I just launched a music channel. I'm involved in music. I'm in a church choir, so I just launched that channel. I have a weather channel as well, so I've been really trying to grow my different niches. But I have my ham radio main channel, and it's on all the channels that I run are on my webpage, mgwarner.com, and that website is on my QRZ page as well. But, the funny thing, you mentioned, a lot of these, what you call clubs, whatever you call them, and what I'm trying to grasp is, why donations? Why do channels ask for donations? Is it to, I don't know, is it to buy new equipment? Is it to keep their channel alive? I've been really trying to grasp the whole purpose of donations, and I wanted to ask that question.
Subscriptions, yeah. Well, it doesn't cost anything to subscribe to a channel, but clubs get donations because, well, a lot of them are 501c3 nonprofits, and a lot of them maintain equipment, repeaters, whatnot, and a lot of them do have clubhouses or EOC. My club, the main club I go to, we call it an EOC, an Emergency Operations Center, because that's where we go when the sky warns hit. But there's HF antenna, HF radio there, so a lot of times it's around that. It just depends on.
He's not asking about clubs. He's asking why YouTubers.
Why YouTubers?
Well, he's right here.
Because
Sorry. Am I right?
are you talking? I mean, because we're talking about clubs today. So are you talking more about clubs or channels? Channels. Because I have a light bill to pay just like you do. I mean, that's why. Well, because I mean, I don't want to get off into that real deep, but a lot of people, there's a lot of channels that request that. There's a lot of channels that make content behind a paywall, and there's a lot of channels that don't do any of that, and it's just all free. So it's just, it's open forum to everybody. You do whatever you want to do, and it's a platform that allows you to do it that way. So it can be either way. Okay. All right, back to the, okay, we got one here, and I saw you there as well.
Bob, KO4ZIK. I'm in the DC area, and as you say, Josh, as well, we have a lot of clubs in that area. A lot of us are members of them. One I'm particularly with is Alexander Radio Club, and we do, as Frank says, we have a membership group. And we send a QSL card, and it has a lot of different things, like here's some people, here's what you can do. Here's our Discord channel, here's our contact to get there. So we kind of lay out where you need to go and how you can do that. And again, same thing, Elmer's. Here's your HF guy, here's this guy, here's your POTA guy. And we try to get all the clubs together, and we do a day in the park. And we let everybody come, all the clubs, near the Pentagon. And we do go out here, everybody set up different types of radios, different types of setups, and have fun. You want to play on a radio? There's WinLink over here, there's CW over here, there's HF over here. So it's a little bit of everything. And we do about 5 hours in the park. So that's how we kind of get everybody together. But we do have a membership group as well that kind of says, here's a QSL card, welcome aboard, and here's the people you want to learn to communicate with.
That's awesome. Good idea.
I want to go answer his question specifically because I know a lot of people ask it.
First pass it to this gentleman who raised
Oh, I'm sorry. You first. Where was he? Over here. I'm over here. I'll help.
What's in the bag, Bill? It's pretty important. You're carrying it around like you're going to lose it.
It's tough to me.
Somebody get that bag.
It's the briefcase. The football.
It's all the donations.
It's the football. Go ahead, sir.
KK6, Jay and I, Rob, and I'm going to address the stagnation of what you called it, the boomer problem. And we noticed that too. And especially, we've had some silent keys lately. And so we thought a couple things that are pretty simple that have been really working were, excuse me, we're going to, every time there's a ham cram or a licensing thing, one of us shows up there and we tell people about our clubs. And we tell people, we do some training sessions for new hams. A lot of times when people sign up to do a ham cram, they don't know anything. So that's good. We give them an opportunity to get training and to join our club. And the other thing, we go to community events. We set up a table in the park at something, Gay Pride or whatever, and people show up, and some of those people show up and come in, and it's been working. We have, like, just in the last 6 months, maybe 20 or more new groups, new people, and especially young people too, high schoolers. I don't know how that's happening, but it's working, and it's kind of simple, and I'm glad we did it.
I hate to flip-flop subjects, but I want to answer this, I think, from a place of integrity. You asked, why do YouTubers have opportunities for viewers to give funds? I'm not monetized, and I give on several occasions. Many of us pay for the Weather Channel and cable. Many of us pay for HBO. Many of us pay for Netflix. There is, in this country, a strong tradition of paying for entertainment. We go at Starbucks, we drop the change in the jar. So there is a tradition of giving and supporting. So I personally, I pay for my entertainment. entertainment. I can't talk. That is a fundamental reason that makes it valid. So I hope that helps. There's lots of reasons, but I hope that helps.
I'm Paul, KE5WMA from the New Orleans area, and my question for the YouTubers, and maybe some of y'all, is how many of y'all have taught Radio Merit Badge and or worked Jamboree on the air?
Yeah, so I was assistant scoutmaster for almost 15 years. Oh, Tim Davis, in W9F. I've got Gray Man POTA and the Ham Radio Kids Table, where our motto is, this is not your grandpa's ham radio. We drive people to make it their own hobby and do their own thing, and just because grandpa did it one way doesn't mean that you have to too. So push the rules. But the Radio Merit Badge and the Jamboree, absolutely. So about 15 years I was involved with the Scout Unit, where I came in as a dad. And radio was a hobby and a passion in electronics, and utilize that. So there's great opportunities to volunteer with scouting with your kids, and helping other people's kids to do that.
Josh. Two quick points. So Jamboree on the Air happens to be on weekends where there's usually an event of some kind. So we have Boo Fest, which is a cub event where they actually dress up and they go trick-or-treating to all the different campsites. It's great. But I also will set up a radio station because it's the same weekend. And so I've got, little Dracula, little Frankenstein, a minion on the radio talking to other scouts. The last one was the same weekend as a backpacking trip. So I had QRP radio, threw up in a tree, and the only people that wanted to actually get on the radio was the girls' troop. And so I had like 12 young ladies that all got on the air and were talking to other scouts, and I went and bought the little hanger patch and gave it to all of them at one of the meetings. So there's often an event that coincides with JOTA, and so that could be, if you are involved in the troop, that's a good way. As far as the Merit Badge, I did 2 live streams going through the requirements of the Merit Badge, and I point people to it like, hey, it's actually not trivial, but then at the same time, my kid did, I think C-Base, they call it down back where I'm at. And he's like, oh yeah, I did the Radio Merit Badge. I'm like, the Ham Radio Merit Badge? He's like, no, I did the Radio Merit Badge. It was like half a day, and they were like done with it. So if they go through the broadcast side of it, they still get the same badge. It's way easier. And it's almost like a merit badge mill type of badge.
They added GMRS to it lately.
Yeah, so if you don't know, it's broken up into 3 sections, and you can choose your adventure. 4, that's right. So you've got broadcast, amateur, direction finding, and now GMRS they've added. So depending on which path they go down, it gets significantly more difficult. The amateur radio path is harder, I would argue, than the other one. So keep that in mind. If you need a badge quick, the broadcast one's easy. Should I go questions? Oh, yeah, go for it.
Thanks. I'm Jeremy, K2HJX. I'm from the Raleigh, North Carolina area. One thing that we do in our club to sort of make entry into the club as easy as possible is we do testing during what we call the gathering, which is not the regular business meeting, but an extra meeting that we have just for hams to come and discuss whatever they want to discuss, or have a show and tell, or just ask questions and meet with Elmers and that sort of thing. But we have testing before those sessions. And for anyone who tests and passes, they get a free 1-year membership to the club. Now, the dues are, it's $18. It's not a lot. But it removes that additional barrier for people to feel welcome and to be able to come and experience more of the meetings, the business meetings, the gatherings, whatever, and to get engaged with other activities that the club is up to. So that's one thing that we do to try and encourage people to come and be part of the club and to participate.
Is anyone here from North Georgia? You laugh about that. Gosh. I'm glad to see that y'all pay attention. So their latest post, if you don't know, they have unlinked now. And I made a video, which you guys haven't seen yet because this still hadn't been edited, but their latest post was, we're going to unlink, we don't want to fight this, it's going to cost $100,000 to, so if you don't know the backstory, North Georgia GMRS Group had linked repeaters across at least 2 state lines, I think. I don't know how many repeaters it was, but they took 8 repeater channels, that GMRS has 8 repeater pairs, that's it, on one band, and they linked them all together. For some reason that is still unbeknownst to me. So no one could use GMRS because those guys were on their rag chewing 23 hours a day. So the FCC sent them a letter. They have unlinked now, and their latest blog post came back, and at the bottom, if you scroll down to the bottom, it says, please join the North Georgia Amateur Radio Club. They're trying to push people to amateur radio, and they say that they have a linked repeater system for amateur radio. And at the very bottom, it says, we will give you a test for free. And I'm like, you know what? I can respect that. That's a great thing. I think they're working through Laurel and doing free testing, and it didn't say an age limit. There's one of them, is it Glarg, that does free testing for everyone under 25, I think. W5YI, I know, does free testing for everyone under 25. But they're offering free testing to people in the North Georgia area now too. So I don't know if, and you know, sometimes clubs take donations so they can pay for the testing fees and not have the person taking the test pay the fee. So if there's a club or an entity out there that you know of that offers free testing, try to get that in front of people that you know might want amateur radio, because sometimes the barrier to entry is monetary, but most of the time it's the test itself is what I'm told. But sometimes, you know, sometimes people don't have the money to take the test and pay the $35 10-year license fee. So we'll see. Yeah.
Norman, KQ4PYW. I'm from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I just want to say that the simple answer to involving the youth in the movement is to get the computers out of their pockets. Because that is a big blockade I hear, is why do they need a radio? And so until we can show them a grid down scenario, which I've been in a city in a grid down with the 2011 tornado that come through Tuscaloosa, city without power. So I've been there. I've also been to Israel in the Gaza territory where the terrorists attacked and took the whole grid down in the initial attack. So I work to build communication systems in Israel now for the communities to have a ham radio community that can communicate when they're off the grid. So got to get the computers out of the pockets.
Let's give it to Paul right there.
All right. I'm going to come up here so it's easy. All right. Hello. I'm Paul, the Grouch from New Hampshire. Call sign November 1 Oscar Golf. I actually love this topic because we've talked about it and talked about it and talked about it, right? But it depends. If you look at the ARRL numbers, right, membership is declining. It looks like ham radio is dying. But if you look at the actual license numbers, we are doing amazing things. There are new people getting licensed more and more each year. Things that we do, like, you know, Carlos and I did Dayton, Parachute Mobile for ARRL Youth Rally, right? What an amazing thing it was to talk to these kids on the air from under canopy, to see the excitement in their faces. We're planting seeds, right? It may not show this year, it may not show next year, right? But what we're doing with all of the good community outreach is we are creating that passion that is eventually going to turn into new hams. So keep reaching out to people and doing good things. Ray, you want the mic?
I'm sorry. I promised myself I wouldn't do this year. I've done it every other year, but the last couple of comments have triggered it to where it is. And the subject changed from clubs, but it also has to deal with clubs. If you want to grow our membership with kids, quit demanding that they come to us during our club hours which is usually mom and dad says that's time to do homework or it's almost bedtime. They don't care about eating at a buffet. They don't care about watching a DXpedition video or listening to a DXpedition presentation because they're like, okay, who wants to go walk around with a bunch of penguins? They can't understand that. And the last thing is, don't take their portal to the world away from them and tell them, no, you can't do that. Everybody walks around with this computer in your pocket. Do more ham radio connected to it. This is what will get them activated, because I had a grandfather come to me and ask us for our comic books several years ago at Dayton. I told him we quit printing them because of the costs. Costs are going up for us. You guys definitely don't want us to raise cost of radios. Trust me, I've read all the reviews about the ID 5200. All those keyboard cowboys, come do my job. Let me sit out there and take shots at you about what you plan and what features you do, what features you don't do, things like that, because 40 years of doing this, it gets pretty comical. But the grandfather came up to me when I told him we weren't printing the comic books anymore. I told him and his grandson had a little iPad, told him where to go find it. And the grandfather goes, great, something else to keep his face in that device. Oh, time out here, Grandpa. When you were his age, how many times did you get yelled at because you laid in front of the radio listening to the ball game or listening to a shortwave broadcast? Don't shut their portal off, because if you shut off their portal, they're going to find something else to do. And if you lose that connection with a kid, you lost them. So look at modifying your meetings. Instead of it starting at 7 o'clock because that's when everybody gets off and, oh, let's go eat. How about look at getting some of the retirees, the younger retirees, not the old guys, because that kind of creeps out kids at after school events. But start looking at doing some fun things. Meshtastic, a great segue into it. Show them how they can be connected. Let them play around with the little cheap $35 portables, because after they're frustrated of going, yeah, oh, I connect it to the computer, I dump somebody else's code plug into it. Well, when there's an emergency, no one has the proper code plug. How do I do it from the front panel? Come talk to me then, because we've got the easier user interface radios. Get frustrated, come enjoy it on our side. But that is the thing about it. Meet them on their ground. Then they'll come across. And also, create things that are fun that they get their hands on. I know when we have new employees come on board at ICOM, I start out, what is radio? Because a lot of people aren't into radio in the Seattle, Washington area. How many radios are in a cell phone?
5 to 7.
5 to 7. Explain each one of them, but where did they come from?
Radio. China.
Not being manufactured, but where did the technology come from?
Amateur radio.
Exactly. The first cell phone call, the development of the cell phone was based off of what?
Voting. Amateur radio.
Amateur radio. And then it went into a commercial area. And so everything that we use today, technology, came from stuff that we were playing with. And when they see and hear that history, it makes them intrigued to want to learn more. Especially the ones that are real quiet in the back of the room and you go, you're technically curious, aren't you? He's pointing at me. No. But afterwards, how did you know? I was like you at one time when I was a kid. So meet them. Don't force them to come to us.
Thank you, Ray.
I just dropped the mic and walked away.
He could have dropped it.
Steve, KX4VW. Speaking about meeting them, the best idea I can give to the group is go to your local high school, talk to the principal, offer to give an introduction to ham radio to students that are interested. You'll be surprised the response you'll get. I've done this before. And to make it real for them, have a brochure printed off. It doesn't cost a whole lot to print 500 brochures with all the contact information that they might need to get into ham radio. And you'll be surprised the groundswell of support you'll get from those high schoolers. We did this. I sit on the board of a volunteer fire department. We printed a brochure, got it distributed, and we were overloaded with volunteer firefighters. You'll be surprised what that will do. Thank you.
No, I get you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's it. Freddie Mac, Ham Radio Crusader, Kilo Delta 5 Foxtrot Mike uniform. I got a question for basically all of you. Tim brought it up earlier about STEM programs in high schools. Do your local high schools or educational outlets have a STEM program that includes amateur radio as part of their program? Can I see a show of hands? It's a low number, isn't it? Well, the reason I ask is this, is our local club president recently approached our high school and proposed this idea, and it wasn't met with immediate negativity. It just went nowhere fast. And I would like some input. If anybody has some, the proper way, I don't know if it's proper, maybe the best way to approach an educational institution to start a STEM program. Our club wants to get our local youth included in the club nonetheless, but amateur radio ultimately. But it seems like it could be a little hard in our community.
The one problem you have about getting into the school district is that unfortunately they can't allow outside people to come in without background checks and a whole litany of things. So it is going to the school district administration, finding the STEM teachers and maybe providing resources to them on the backside. They had the Teachers Institute. Steve Goodgame was doing that, and they were bringing in teachers, STEM teachers from across the country, to show them how they could utilize amateur radio into their STEM program as one more piece of technology. We are a technology hobby. We're not necessarily a radio hobby. We need to get away from that. That's grandpa's mindset. This is technology. We need to push the envelope. I always tell my kids, my son, he's always like, Dad, I could pick up my phone and text anybody. And I tell him, I said, you know what, take any modern technology that you look at today, everything that's in our lives, go back and look at the people who hold those patents on them. I guarantee you, one, if not more, people are licensed amateur radio operators in the United States, Canada, or another country. It all, like Ray was saying, it all comes from amateur radio. Amateur radio started because there was no schools to go learn about electronics. People were doing that in their garages. They were learning this thing out of magazines, and it is boiled down to what we see today. We do a bad job of crapping on people because we're not doing it the way we expect them to do it. This is a hobby of learning. It's a hobby of experimentation. Allow them to do it. Allow them to mess up. Scouting, one of the things in scouting is give them a safe place to fail. As long as they're not going to hurt themselves or damage something, let them do it. If they have to cut a piece of wire 5 times, then they cut a piece of wire 5 times. They will learn, but don't crowd them. Give them the opportunity. Encourage them. Sometimes we say it depends. If they come up and ask, one of the good things we do in scouting, right? The kid comes up and asks, go ask your senior patrol leader, right? That's the best thing you can do them. Give them the resources. Show them, how to find the information. Don't give them the information. Allow them to do that. Allow them to experience it and learn from it, and then teach the next one beside them. That's how we grow this hobby. Not business meetings, not sitting around forcing them, not trying to, and I'm sorry, giving them a brochure. Give them a piece of wire and a Cobra head. That's how you do it. Show them how to use a nano VNA and then walk away. I saw some great results. Who's the person that Steve had in New York City, the New York City?
Oh, yeah.
Carol Perry?
No, it was the school teacher.
Everton, yes. Oh my God, he has got a great program there. And he had some of his kids on, and watching it, they talk about one thing, and all of a sudden these kids are ping-ponging back and forth, throwing out ideas on how to fix something. They've got all kinds of equipment that's been sitting there for years that was broken and nobody had to do anything. And these kids have taken it on themselves to fix it and get it back into service. Nobody showed them how to do it. They took that initiative, but you gotta foster that initiative. Yes?
Everton and his group just finished doing the solar car race.
Yeah.
In Dallas, Texas. They also did ham radio while doing it. And it started out horribly wrong. But they kept doing amateur radio, figured out the solutions to their problems, and actually did incredibly well.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Let me cut you off. I just have a question. How many people have a MeshCore or Meshtastic device on them right now? A lot of hands. Now, I'm not going to preach at you because you're not the group that needs the preaching. I'm just going to remind you. So not long ago, and you know this, it was like, that'll never catch on. That ain't ham radio. But now everyone's got one in their pockets, and I bet you there's 200-300 out there on the floor.
Oh, there's more than that.
So I'm not preaching at you. I just want to ask you guys to remind the people who want to gatekeep. And so, remind the people, be the evangelist who reminds the people that there's a difference between taboo and regulation. So if we're not breaking the law, let's see where this is going to go. And here's an example right here in front of us. The brass knuckle group. But gang. So that's not ham radio. Well, at once upon a time, ham radio was the crappiest, the least valuable bands, and a bunch of people in garages or workshops figuring it out. So when did we get to this point where that's ham radio and nothing else? That tends to be the mindset of those people who want to be gatekeepers. No, ham radio is right here. No, it's a growing thing. And my example about Meshtastic is an example of that. And the 2-meter FM CW. There's younger people, and I'm one of them, I'm not younger, that are just excited about that, and they're joining. But there's a group of people, the gatekeepers, that's not CW. Well, it is for now. And, just be that group that goes out there and reminds them.
Joshua, 2,300.
Glenn Went, Whiskey 3, Whiskey Tango, Gwinnett County. We're blessed to be hosting our 8th school this year for an Ares space station contest and our 9th one next spring. If you're talking to the administrators, that's a great gateway drug. It gets them excited. That program is fantastic. The whole school has to participate, from the art department to the math department. When that happens in your county, the other schools get jealous and want to do it. So you got to use greed or curiosity to really, sell what we're trying to do here. And that's a great way to get the kids involved.
Thank you. I got a question. This is older hams giving older hams ideas about how to get youth into the hobby.
We're young.
Well, yes, some of you are younger than me. Of young hams, give older hams ideas on how to get more young hams into the hobby. Tell me about it.
Yeah, there was anyone familiar with HamSci? Yep. So they do have a table here. So Nathaniel Frizzell at HamSci, he's at the University of Scranton. He has a program where he teaches amateur radio through it. It's a STEM program. And one of the talks at the HamSci conference, I think it was not this year, but last year, was exactly that. Was a couple of the college students getting up there and saying, this is how you get college students interested in amateur radio. And it was a really good talk. There's a video on my channel about it. I can't remember all the specifics of it, but yes, I've seen that once. So it needs to happen more, yeah.
The DEF CON group, Ham Radio Village, is basically a club, and a lot of the leadership is very young. The last live stream I did before DEF CON had Delphi was one of the ladies that was on it. She's, I think, still in college, and she's the one that ran the RF tracking event that they did. And the little foxes was, the challenge was you could DF a fox. That wasn't the problem. You had to figure out what the call sign was for the person. You didn't go talk to them as a ham. But then you had to also figure out what song they had chosen that was played in CW on the Fox. And that was the only way you got the token, and then the token went to the scoreboard. And that was just one of the events that they coordinated for the Ham Radio Village. They also had SSTV listening station. They had little printouts for FCC licenses, in addition to all the VE testing. And that was all pretty much young people. They had a lot of hams helping to guide, and because they're involved, but there was a lot of young people in that group. Who's next? Questions? I guess just open. Oh, what was it? Open Q&A time?
Appreciate it. Hey, my name is Van, KM4KBS. I just started a new channel called the Invis Corner, but focusing on near vertical incident skywave. I'm part of the Chesapeake Amateur Radio Club down in Chesapeake, Virginia. One thing we found is during COVID, when everything got shut down, everybody was stuck at home. And so something we did is we actually have a ham radio clubhouse to where we got internet at the clubhouse. We had someone donate a television, a webcam, and we were able to start streaming our presentations, our meetings. But one thing, and we really got a lot of people joining in through streaming services. Now, I know not every club has that capability, but that really brought in a lot more people to the hobby just because, hey, we could be at home and watch it. We just started getting more people coming into the clubhouse. And one thing that we do once a month is what we call just Shack Day. And so the Shack Day, we don't have anything planned. It's just like, hey, if you have any problems with your radios or if you're trying to program something or do digital modes, just bring your equipment in. We'll help you program radios. Just more hands-on really brought the younger hams into the clubhouse because they're like, hey, I got this new radio, but I can't get it to connect to the repeaters. Or, they have an antenna that's not working, or, they don't have the equipment or the antenna analyzers to do what they need to do. So they bring their equipment in, we sit down, we help them with, testing them out. We show them how to use a nano VNA, how to use a, antenna analyzer, and then we also have presentations. And we find that a lot of people, the older people, come in for the PowerPoint presentations and the how-tos, but when you do the more hands-on, cutting wires, how to build a J-pole antenna using, ladder line, where they're actually doing hands-on experimentation, you get a lot more of the younger generation interested in that. And so that's something that we've noticed.
You saying do COVID again? That's what I heard.
No. I'm just saying that led us.
Oh, okay.
No, just saying that led us to do the streaming. So appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yep.
Anyone else at all? I think there's some great information here. Yeah, I see that. We actually have the room for 2 hours.
Oh.
But I'm not talking that long. So this is great information. I think some really good ideas have been presented here. So I appreciate everyone's attention to this. And go out there and one of you guys said it, I think, be the change you want to see. I've said that in my videos before. So get involved in your local communities outside of the club, and then go to them, like Ray said. Go see them where they are, and just make it known that amateur radio is not what they probably think it is, and it is a welcoming community. I know that's been one of the focuses of my channel, is to have show a welcoming community when people think there isn't one. You got something?
Yes.
Okay.
More mistake on the end of the question.
A mistake?
So I got into ham radio about 10 years ago. This is very new to me. I had no friends that was in it. It was just something I was interested in. tried several different ham club radios. Most of it were guys that were 3 generations, 4 generations older than me that just continuously talked over my head. I didn't understand. I didn't know what J-poles were. When they said wind link, I had no idea. They were using all this terminology that I just did not understand. And it very much, I kind of sat stagnant for almost 5 years. So I got that license and I never done anything with it because I didn't understand the acronyms and the lingos. I felt that it was way over my head, and whenever I asked a question, I kind of felt like I was dumb. So I want to thank all of you guys that are doing YouTube channels, because it opened up an avenue for me to learn about this without feeling judged by someone. So I've learned more in the past 4 years from these guys sitting up here than I have anywhere. So thank you.
Vaughn, KG4VET, Julie, KJ4ULZ, POTA Power. A lot of good information here. I appreciate everybody's input. I went to our repeater owner that we were part of before, and basically I was like, look, man, you're like 75, 80 years old. You need to start bringing in the next round of people that are going to be taking care of this repeater. It's 1,000 feet in the air. You know, it covers all of Central Florida. And he basically was like, I'm going to live forever, and when it dies, it dies. I'm like, bro, that's not the right mindset to have. We got to, ham radio was evolution, and we got to keep on evolving, not only with our equipment, with the youth, with all the different technologies we have, but we appreciate the open-mindedness of these guys to be able to move and keep on evolving with technology and with the youth. With Boy Scouts, we did a scout thing with Parks on the Air, had a blast with them. And it was exciting to see the young men that already had their license and was like getting the other kids involved because of the scout program and with Parks on the Air and stuff like that. So you all keep on doing the good work and don't worry about the sad hams.
No. Bill's got that. Bill's old. He's got to go to the bathroom.
At least he owns it. So I had Tim just reminded me, I had an idea a while back about how many people have repeaters in your area that you think are dead? Yeah? Okay. It is a good number. And how many of those repeaters are capable of adding All-Star to? So if you think so, I think a lot of things in life, and amateur radio is one of them. It's one of those if you build it, they will come type thing. MeshCore certainly works that way. If you add an All-Star node connection to your local dead repeater and connect to some of the more active networks, I've got one, but there's hundreds of them out there, and you start spitting out activity on your repeater, people will start listening and take notice of it and using it again. This is a theory that I had a while back that I've talked to these guys about. People will hear that activity, they'll start using it again, and then once you get enough activity locally, you can disconnect from All-Star. You don't have to use it anymore. You can create your own All-Star room and tell all your local people that when they go travel, they can connect back into the repeater and talk to their buddies who are at home. So I think All-Star is a really good way to revive and reinvigorate, is that the word, reinvigorate, local repeaters that might not have any activity on them. So Tim just reminded me of that, and I think that's a good idea too.
And the benefit of one of the things we do, we meet up a lot across country, different ham fests, camping, overlanding events, stuff like that. We use All-Star in our vehicles and using just basic FM radios, and we can communicate. We're using the internet. We're put that computer, it's in our pockets, linking us into the internet. And we can travel and stay in touch, and we're utilizing it. And like Jason has a node that's up on the, we call it a cloud node, and anybody can connect to it. At any given time, there's probably 100 nodes connected to it, multi-layers deep. And all that conversation's going out. And we have that opportunity to communicate as a group, as we're driving, and we're not bound to that local area. I use All-Star at home. I live in between two major areas, but I can't reach the repeaters in either one. So I've got a node that's in my house, and an HT. There you go. And I can link in and link out to different nodes and talk to people and keep that communication going.
There's All-Star node at a repeater site, is it standalone or does it have to be connected to the internet?
Say that once more.
Repeat the question.
This is Mr. All-Star right here.
Go He's become the face of All-Star. Freddie, you need a hand?
Face for radio.
There you go.
Repeat the question, Freddie.
I got to hear it all first.
I was just wondering if you add an All-Star node to a regular repeater site, does the All-Star node, is it a standalone repeater itself, or does it have to be connected to the internet?
Well, you want it to be connected to the internet to make the connections to the other nodes.
Because the site already has to have internet connection.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
I've got a repeater right now in the middle of our county, and I live, as a crow flies, about 17 miles, 15 miles from it. And our site didn't have internet at first. And I couldn't get on that repeater from Henrietta. I live in the south part of the county, and it was, I had to be on a mobile to hit the repeater because it was so far away. There's a hill in between, it was troublesome. So after learning from another ham, and I wished I could quote his call sign right now because he's the one who gave me the idea, I put an All-Star Link node in the county courthouse with permission, because right out that north window in the old jail, I could see my repeater tower less than 7 miles away. And I programmed that radio for the input and output of the repeater. It was just like somebody out in the field talking on the repeater. And anybody in the world can connect to that node, and when it keys up the repeater. It's I'm sorry, Ray, but it's a Yaesu DR2X. Just the one I ended up with, but I have to turn the ID and the hang time all the way to 0 so that the All-Star Link is the ID. It is the hang time, or you can do it in reverse, make the repeater do it and turn everything off on the All-Star Link node. But every week, I connect that repeater up to 2 others in Oklahoma, and we have our local Skywire net. It's a social net, it's not a weather net, but when the weather does come, we have our own respective weather nets. But I also connected up to the Delaware Valley OMIC net in Philadelphia, New Jersey area every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Central. And just like the man said, there's over 100 some odd other nodes connected to it. The Philadelphia hub connects into it, and we have a wonderful net for, if it's the wintertime, it'll go 3 hours. But if the weather's good, it's about an hour, hour and a half. But I have tons of very good friends that I would trust with most of my life that I've never met in person. They're very, very good people. I hit them up with problems early on when I started my All-Star Link journey about problems I was having building a node. And they're like, hey, we used to work with that, and jotted down a schematic and shot it to me over email and fixed the problem. These guys don't even know me. But they're all hams and they're all willing to help. So it's something to think about. When I first connected my repeater up to All-Star Link, and then I started linking it up, some nights, once a week, it'll get connected up at night to the PSRG net, the Puget Sound Repeater Group in Seattle. And we're talking to a lot of people. And I had one complaint. What? No, he's about your age, though. Okay. No, I had one complaint from one ham. It's like, why do you connect that up to people so far away? And I said, well, so we could talk to a lot of people. He said, I don't want to talk to people in Seattle. And I said, I'm sorry you feel that way. It's my repeater. I'm sorry. I don't mean to be a bully. But, we're hams talking to hams here, making connections. That's what All-Star Link's all about, in my opinion. So, my 2 cents.
All right, Ray's got something again. Oh, what I meant was, Ray's got something again.
Now, hold on. First time I met this gentleman right here, he was promoting digital radio. It was a different technology than what ICOM launches, but the concept was linking repeaters. And since we started out talking about clubs, How many business part of the club meetings did you attend that you heard the Treasury report? Yeah. $50, $60, $100,000 in the Treasury. They're talking about the Christmas party. They're talking about what they're spending in field day. And then as soon as Jason got up for his presentation, or I did, and mentioned internet to the repeat, who's going to pay for that? Dude, we just listened to your Treasury report. $50 to $100 is not going to break the club. Yeah. But the joy that the people in the club could have, regardless of what technology. And by the way, your All-Star bridges all technology. Yes. Mm-hmm. So you didn't offend me that it wasn't our repeater that will burn up. It would be that they can still link and talk on their ICOM or Kenwood radio on D-Star.
For the record, my first ham radio was an ICOM, IC2100H.
Well, my career started working at MFJ. I always wish I could afford an ICOM. They would told me before I started working there I had to sell all my Yaesu, Alinco, and everything else.
Oh boy. All right. Well, we've been going for it. This is all really good topics, and we've divvied from the clubs a bit, but that's okay. It's still good information. The repeater thing and the All-Star things. And Ray, I talk on my All-Star note on my ID 5100, just so you know. So, but this is all very good subjects. We have the room for about another hour, and I think there's a presentation at noon. So lots of times we just like to hang out and talk to people. So I want to thank everyone for coming today. We hope to see you next year. We hope to see you in Orlando, those of you who can make it to Orlando. And just check out all the channels that are represented up here. And one of the things I said on my last video, I was talking about welcoming amateur radio, how welcoming it is or isn't, is like I could name you 50, and probably more than that. I could name you 50 YouTube channels that I personally know, people I personally know, that where you could go out and ask any amateur radio question you want to. Somebody back there once said that they felt like they were asking a dumb question. There's no such thing as a dumb question. And we as a group, we as a hobby need to embrace the fact that there are no dumb questions. The only dumb question is one you don't ask. So be welcoming. What I was trying to say, I could name you 50 YouTube channels we can go ask a dumb question. So be welcoming, be supportive, and be interested in helping others all through their amateur radio journey also. What? You already got 8,000. You don't have to ask people to subscribe.
Okay. But before we all go, I have a magic trick I like to do.
No, you don't.
Does it make the DJI mic disappear?
There you go. I have stickers if anybody's interested in stickers. Come see me.
And Carlos has coffee. Anybody else want to announce anything, or not a magic trick or anything like that at all?
Know anything about truck driving?
If you can send your call sign and you want to get into the Brass Knuckle Gang, see me, not Becky, so you can get it in my downline.
Oh. I was told that that's like an Amway downline for you, so I don't know where that. It's a pyramid scheme. No MLMs. We don't like those. So.
He's just joking.
Yeah, it didn't sound like a joke to me. So, thank you for coming today. 73. We appreciate all you guys. What? One other thing. What? Stand up. I can't.
Let everybody know. Parachute mobile later today.
Yeah. Y'all are jumping again. These two guys jump out of airplanes on purpose for some reason. So, yeah, you want to talk about that?
You want to talk about your testing?
Say again?
Last year, your testing?
My testing, what?
Or was that 2 years ago?
That was 2 years ago that I inadvertently drove my ID50. It survived 14,000 foot of impact, so I'm here to tell you. We're going to be leaving here shortly. The drop zone's about an hour away. We're going to be on 14645, and once we run that drive, we'll be on 14652. If you want to make a parachute mobile QSO, Paul and I will gladly return your call. And if I get off my rear end, I'll use Becky's and Mike's QSL card service to send out the QSL cards for this weekend.
I have to catch a plane that I'm not jumping out of. So great time, everybody, but I am out of here, so I'll see you later. Thank you, Jason.
See you, Joe. Mic drop. Thanks, guys. 73, appreciate it.